What's up, guys? Now that we're going into the second week of early access, I'd like to share with you guys my thoughts and experience of Path of Exile. This comes from the perspective of someone who has been playing as a warrior since launch on the 6th. It's a slog. Not an arduous and painful way, just that movement, actions, progression, and even inventory management have been adjusted to fit this more weighted, methodical combat. I, for one, am on board for this approach to the genre. More deliberate and consequential gameplay helps keep me immersed in the grind. It, however, does pose an issue for repetitive farming methods in the latter part of the game, resulting in losing maps and XP. Also, loot is disappeared after death, which I'm on the fence about. Is that even ethical? In a game that is pretty good at baiting you into one-shot deaths, I'm not certain losing all the loot in a map is a necessary penalty for death. But alas, I'm getting ahead of myself again. Let's start with the campaign. The story is serviceable, and at some points raises to the pinnacle of what a genre has to offer. Unfortunately, those moments were fleeting and too sparse to have any real effect on the game itself. Following the banger of an intro cutscene, I was left hoping for more cinematics. What scenes they offered between acts failed to live up to the expectations set by the opening act. What you're left with is dribbles from the townsfolk and parties of interest coaxing you along, much like any ARPG you've ever played before. Let's rip off the band-aid and talk about difficulty a bit. The difficulty in Path of Exile is difficult. Casual players can follow a guide and put together a decent build that can farm the items they want to trade for the upgrades they need to eventually be able to map and hope that someday they can beat the pinnacle bosses. To me it sounds like they've already invested quite a bit of time into a game as a casual player. Maybe they aren't as casual as we think. Path of Exile has very few people casually playing it. By nature, the time and learning investment to gain any progress supersedes the fact that it took you a year to beat the campaign. It's not that Path of Exile's moment-to-moment combat actions are too difficult or unfair. It's the other 75% of the game you need to learn in order to progress. And progression is the core fundamental needed to hook players in. 1,000 deaths is fine, as long as at the end of a session I feel like I've accomplished something. The skills I've used so far are great. Again, they often feel sluggish and unmanageable when the screen is crammed with monsters and ground effects and frickin' laser beams. I preferred to have the sockets on gear like in the original, but I do like the layout of the skill tab and the amount of information available. The onboarding for upgrading your character skills is streamlined and intuitive. This allows most players to pick it up and understand it without having to study it like you're prepping for your fucking SAT. As a game, I think it's an improved version of the skill system, minus the leveling situation. Grabbing a higher level uncut gem and leveling your skill gems doesn't quite get it for me. I just think of the price difference of a fully leveled Awakened gem in PoE 1 versus a level 1 gem. It was cool, you could socket your gems in offhand and level them for future use, etc. Overall, I really like the skill gem system and the skills and supports themselves. For early access, I'm actually blown away by the sheer amount and quality of the gems. I'm sure we're going to see some interesting combinations of skills and supports still to come. The music and atmosphere is splendid. Probably not if you're actually trudging across the corrupted swamps and ruins of the game. But from a production standpoint, the team nailed it. What is it? Nostalgia. Not for Path of Exile, its direct predecessor. Oh no, when I play Path of Exile 2, I can't help but be reminded of its roots in Diablo. And that's fine. I love almost everything about how PoE looks and sounds. As I progressed through the campaign, the dopamine infusions of gear upgrades and whatnot came regularly enough to satisfy my urgent needs for progression. When I reached the end game and was exploring the Atlas tree, sometimes I would hit lulls where I would be seemingly stuck, needing to upgrade my armor or weapon to eke out a couple more map tiers before being halted again by repeated deaths. This problem can be easily solved by either trading for what you need or just not pushing tiers and focus on farming levels and gear. I'm not sure what the best strategy is, but looking back, I wouldn't have tried to juice my maps so much early on. Instead, focused on climbing through the map tiers to complete the quests, earning Atlas points, and higher XP gains from monsters. Regardless, I feel like the endgame is in a relatively good spot, despite some balancing issues with the insane currency drops in the juicier maps. All in all, I think PoE 2 will constantly improve and grow in the years to come. I'll be playing it, I'll be making videos for the foreseeable future, and I hope you'll join me and learn what it is to truly be Exile. Have fun and stay safe, my friends.